nature humbles you down. Like this year, the beekeeping this year has been a bit, as I said, we usually assess the hives. We would have done it about 2 weeks ago if the temperature would have been high enough. But because of the frost last week, we're like two weeks behind schedule, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So would you see that as a negative? You could, but that's nature, you know, slows you down. You can't control that.
Yeah.
It's hard, you know. It's just, you're trying to, you make a plan, and that plan doesn't work out because nature has its own agenda, you know. It works with the cycle of the sun, whatever, and sometimes it's never the same. There's not 1 year the same with beekeeping, never. That's why you learn every year, and you become experienced with all the different. I've been at it for 24 years now, so I've seen a lot of strange years, you know.
Like what?
I'm actually very happy so far because my losses are over 30%, which is good. It's not 50 or 60% losses. I'm on another 30%, 35 maybe, which is good. I'm happy in that sense. But there's some people have lost more this year. Somebody was saying he lost about 60%, 70%.
That's the hives, is it?
The hives, they died, yeah, over the winter, you know. Like you go, let's say you go with 20 hives into the winter, and in Ireland we're losing about 50%. You lose 10 of them, half of them. So.
And do they know why?
Do they know why? Well, there's obviously the biologist and the scientist. There's all these different articles, different studies, serious studies from all universities. And yeah, there's a lot of studies there. Some reasons we know, some things we do, and some are mystery. But it's a combination of things, I say. It's the weather patterns and also the way farming, the way of managing the bees as well. So it's not all one. You cannot say it's one thing. It's generally speaking, we say it's more than one thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not. Some things are very clear. I mean, it's not rocket science, you know, to understand, you know.
Of course, yeah.
If you have a field with grass, like a golf course, and you cut it 20 times a year, there is no flower has a chance. She gets mowed in by the machine, so there's no food. And that's not a secret. Now, if you apply that in a bigger scale, well, then we know that's very obvious, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's the science of beekeeping it's keeping them alive, but then you become sensitive to plants because you want them to be coming to flower so they can give the source of food to your bees. So it's not just about the bees, it's about the plants that you discover as the years go by, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's all, and the sycamore, the tree sycamore, I say I'll give it another 2 or 3 weeks. There's a big sycamore tree up there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They also have a source of food for the bees. Very, very nutritious stuff, and a lot of stuff. They have the cactins and actually there's nectar on the sycamore and the maple. I never thought about it, but I see them do it for 2 weeks. You can if you sit on the sycamore when that nectar flow and the cactins are on, it's unreal, the noise. If the weather is fine,
Oh, yeah?
it's like a buzz.
Oh yeah.
It's unreal. Yeah. I can't explain it. Yeah.
And it's funny. Do you find that the drone of the hive is similar to the drone of your pipes?
Yeah. Obviously, when you play pipes, we have the drones. Now, the name drone comes from the bumblebee, which is a drone. Well, the drone, the bee, and that is imitating the sound of the drone. You know,
Mm.
it comes from that. That you know, a lot of noise, a lot of sounds in music in musical instruments, actually were imitating. Animals. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a connection there between sounds from animals and humans. That's not a secret that we all the most primitive instruments, musical instruments, actually that's what they do. They create, we imitate certain sounds from the animals, you know.
But you must play music a lot around the bees as well, do you? Or
Do I play around them? Well, I listen to them. They also make a noise, certain noises.
hmm
But obviously, when you play the pipes, the bagpipes, you have the drones, and yeah, you hear that buzzing sound, you know.
hmm
Also from the hurdy-gurdy, you know.
of course, yeah.
So that is almost all ancient musics. If you listen to it carefully, primitive musics, they all have a type of a drone in one form or the other, either through drumming, through humming, through droning, through pipes, through even string. If you listen to it carefully, you're going to see that all primitive music, native musics, they have that in all continents, because it also brings you into in-trance. When you listen to the same sound over and over, it's a way of becoming in trance, you know. But that's all cultures have that influence in one form or the other, through the singing, through the wind, through the strings, you know.
hmm
And then it can combine with melody as well. But if you look at drumming, is when you play a lot of drumming, it's nothing else but a constant noise, a vibration of the skin that crosses the same tone over and over again. Obviously, you put the beats into it, but if you analyze it, as the sound is always the same. It's the same continuous sound, you know. Some drums, some musical instruments are very clear. That's what they do, but if you listen to all primitive musics, you'll see that in all continents. It's because there's that influence that it gives you. It pushes you in a state of trance, you know.
And do you have that same state when you're with the bees? Because most are very loud.
No. It's not. It's not. They can be very loud in certain times of the year. You know, when later on in June, July. Yeah, you can hear the drones. Yeah, if you're attentive, you would hear different sounds. If that's what you're looking for, you will hear a lot of sounds from the bees. But I, as a beekeeper, I do listen, but I don't. I more emphasize on the assessments, what they do, you know, physically, you know. But there is no doubt. There's certain sounds that they make that you can listen to. You know, there's no the drone. When the fine day, when you have a lot of drones, you do hear the buzz of the drones. You know, but there could be a couple of thousand there, you know, buzzing away. You know. But also the bumblebee, the humming, the big bumblebee. If you listen to her, she will be making that noise. You know, yeah.
You spoke to me before about the holly flowers.
The
was it?
holly flowers, yeah, they could be. I don't know if they're in flower now, but it's I discovered them last year. Never thought. It's so small. You can't even see it. No, they're not. I see it's coming later on, maybe. No, it's not. Yeah, well, there they are. No, they are here. Yeah. You see how small they are?
Oh, yeah.
They haven't blossomed yet.
Yeah, tiny
So
little
they're
buds.
the little buds, yeah. But that's the holly flower.
Wow.
Yeah. So you give it another 2 weeks, and you'll actually see bees on the holly flower, and I discovered the flower through the bees. I saw the bees, but I couldn't see the flower. It's very, very small. And now if it gets fertilized, then you have the red berry, the berry of the holly. You might get the fruit. You might get the fruit, but it has to be fertilized also to have the seed, the fertilized seed. Now, we have the sycamore here now. She's not really.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Isn't that something, huh?
That's amazing.
Yeah. Hold it there. Hold it. Yeah. So now you see that? See the flower there? You never think you see a flower in a sycamore.
Wow.
Isn't that beautiful?
It's gorgeous.
Yeah. Well, you give it another week. If you come over here, you're gonna hear rock and roll, man. Unreal. I mean, they could be working on it, but it's not. No, you give it another week or two, and the whole thing is gonna blossom. The flower, I still don't know what it is. It could be it's a combination of the flower and the cactus. Yeah. So you have to have the two things. The cactus gives out the pollen, and then there's the flower, and there's a fertilization process. I never connected a tree to a flower. Now I do. Every time I see a tree now, some trees actually give out more than yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what beekeeping does. You discover the things. It opens up your eyes. The things you never saw in your life. I mean, I'm still learning.
Amazing.
Now that's a walnut, also. Yeah, see, you have the cactins.
Oh, wow.
See, these are the cactins. You see, that's basically the pollen. You see, they have pollen, so they're still opening up, and somewhere must be a flower. So you have the pollen and the flowers. So they have to be fertilized. Now, I have not seen many bees that I know of on the walnut tree. Yeah, on the sycamore maple, it's unreal. On that tree, you come here, there's a 10 days every year. The noise is unbelievable. You can sit here and hum, the droning is just like you're in you think you're under a hive. There's a swarm of bees, and they're not swarming, they're just eating on the flower cactus of the sycamore,
Wow.
I still don't know exactly what they're after. Is it the cactin, which is the pollen, or there is a flower? I'll have to watch it more carefully. So I'm going to learn again more this year,
Yeah, of course.
What is it that they go after? Is it the cactin for the pollen, or maybe is there nectar on the maple? I don't know. Yeah. So there's more than just maple syrup. Maple honey.
So basically having the bees is really open your eyes to everything, huh?
Yeah, you see flowers and you look at them in a different way. What can they, and some flowers are useless, like beautiful roses, especially the hybrids. They have these beautiful roses, and they're useless because they're closed in. They're being made to look beautiful, but there's no bees in there because they can't get in there. Now the wild rose is open, so they can work on the wild rose. So those things you also learn, that beautiful flowers sometimes have no food for insects. They just look good, but there's nothing nada yet. So that you also learn. You watch it, and then you have these freaking weeds. They're everywhere, but as a beekeeper, you say, well, do I take them away or leave them there? You become,
Yeah, a lot of decisions.
Yeah, you got, if you take that away, that's a source of food for something else. Yeah, and it opens up your eyes to the pollination. The issue is pollination, and it's obviously there's no humans can't do that. We cannot, certain flowers humans cannot be pollinated. No way, no hope. So that's why they're essential, and that's why they pollinate up to 70% of our food. It's and that was a bit of a shock for me as a beekeeper, because I just kept bees for honey for as a hobby. But then I said, wait a minute, they also pollinate other food that we don't, carrots, onions. He says, what's a carrot have to do with a bee? They pollinate the seeds. And I've seen it doing it. And I've seen it on onions, the onion flower, So it's a very, very interesting story. It's endless. There's no, and watching them doing it, it's just like there's nothing better than you have to slow down and just, watch them. Open up your eyes and you'll see it. Sometimes it all depends on the weather. If you're going to have a flower, but if it's cold and wet, you won't see nothing. But within the same day, you might see them. They come and go. They work with the weather, with the temperature. They're very conservative when they fly. Bees, they don't want to waste their energy, because every time they do fly, they're using energy. That means nectar. That means honey. So if they know the weather's bad, they can't fly on the bad weather, so they're very, very conservative when they fly. So everything is very effective, you know. So they can get something out of it, you know. So they know that better than we do, you know. Yeah.
Amazing.
Amazing. Yeah. So that's my spring. Isn't that a? Yeah. You can't. Honestly, I can't. Some things you can't describe. You know, it's just you have to see it and then read about it. This is holy baloney. Yeah. Yeah. Everybody should be a beekeeper.
Yeah.
Because it's not about the bees. It's about the whole thing.
Yes.
And especially farmers. You know, especially big farmers.
Yeah.
They should be beekeepers.
So that's an interesting idea. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Big farmers, beekeepers. Yeah.
Big beekeeper. Yeah.
Yeah, well, whatever. Let them see that the beekeeping is part of farming, and they should be made to keep bees and see that the connection. And I say most of them don't see it, so therefore they can't see it. But if they had them, they say, wow, this is not something that I ever imagined, you know. Yeah.
You haven't converted any
Converted.
of the big farmers?
Maybe I have. I don't know. I don't think so, but maybe I have. I don't know. I see that there? There's actually a fly there. She's after the nectar. You see that? She's drinking, but she's not collecting pollen. She's collecting nectar. You see?
Right.
But she might carry pollen but it's not her purpose.
By accident. Okay.
By accident, but it happens. Okay. So that's why all insects that go into flowers are essential, not just the bees, all of them, because they all play the role. But we all know that bees are more effective because that's what they do. They actually rub and shake the pollen and transfer the pollen from one flower to the other. So they create pollination and cross pollination, which is the basics of plant thriving. You know, they need that. Some plants need it more than others. You know, and some plants also can wind pollinate it. So there's a combination of two. But you know, but the bee story is
And how'd you get into it?
By coincidence. You know, I had rabbits, I had goats, I had sheep, even had a cow, and some of these books says you should also have a hive of bees. So I said, well, it was part of the, but then I thought it was just straightforward. No, it's a science. When I first got my hives, they were given to me away to adopt them. I was helped by a beekeeper, but I didn't take care of them right, and they all died on me. So then I joined the Beekeepers Association, which they're a great help. And then I went to the talks, and then I realized that this is more than just, you know, you have to know how to take care of them, and I managed to buy another 6 to 7, which wasn't cheap. And then from then, ever since then, I make sure I go to the talks, I read the books, I watch the videos, and I'm always learning from other master beekeepers, you know. Yep. Yeah, it's a great hobby. Everybody should be a beekeeper, you know. Just to understand nature alone, it'll open up your whole perspective of plants, looking at plants and wanting to have more plants, you know, and creating you want biodiversity, you know, and you see why you need the biodiversity, you know? Because flowers don't live forever. Plant like the sycamore there, she'll be in flower only for 2 weeks max, and then that's it. So the insects, the bees, they need a different flower after that. It comes in sequence, you see. So it starts in the spring, but it comes in sequence. You have different flowers coming different timing, so they can survive. And they can, otherwise they wouldn't. If you only had one type of plant, they only survive. They're going to live there for two weeks. But that's why you need the biodiversity, because they come in different stages. Different trees, different plants, flower in different times. There's like the blackberry, which is the main source of, it comes into the honey flow. She'll be a main blossom in June, July, you know. So, and then you have later flowers. So you have to have a biodiversity of different flowers that come in different timing, and that's how you watch them come in as one comes, one goes, is the whole cycle, you know.
Great.
Yeah, I thought there's something.
Cool.